I'm like, if love is the center of all your things in life, like you will never fail.
That's
like,
good.
That's just what I believe. Like God is love. Like, you know, if you can imagine, like, and look up what love means, you know, in the Bible, like that's how I believe. So I don't care what you believe in.
Yes.
As long as that is your core and your center.
Yeah.
Like we'll all prosper.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode on Divinely Disruptive Podcast. I'm your host, Jane Powers, and today I have a dope female boss lady, model, influencer, entrepreneur, and educator, Monica here, and I'm so excited for her to share a little bit about herself, her journey. If you guys are new to the podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. You're going to hear from some influential people that have impacted me in a very intimate way. And again, it's all about sharing our life, sharing our truth, going through the dark days as well as the good days. So girl, thank you so much for being here. I want to just thank you so much for your time. I know you've been doing so much. You're killing the game. I always like to start every episode with a couple questions so people watching, tuning in, they can get to know you a little bit. Yeah. So let's start off with, what is your favorite color?
I have two favorite colors.
Okay.
It's pink and blue.
Okay, I dig it. What about favorite type of music?
I mean, I'm an R&B girl for sure, but
dig
like rap is like just has my heart for some reason.
Okay, hell yeah. What about dream car?
Dream car would be a G-Wagon.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, we can roll together. I'm like, I want a giant semi-truck or something crazy. What is
or a truck?
A place that you want to travel to that you haven't gone to yet?
I would love to go to Africa or Bali.
Okay, shoot, maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet. Okay. So, something that really caught my eye, before we jump into this conversation is definitely your big energy. Okay. Y'all already know what I want to say is the big D energy, but
Big Purr. We call her Big Purr.
Okay, I love it. But, that's one thing that really drawed me to you. It was just like this instant connection, but just you are so secure, so fiery, so confident. You definitely have God-fearing fire in you. So tell me a little bit about like where you got that zest from.
Pain.
No, preach it.
Like the realist, like trial, error, mistakes, heartbreak. Anything you probably go through in a trial, like, I don't know, makes you strong, especially like born and raised here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a different city. Everything comes here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very sinful. So it makes you very strong.
Man, no. And speaking of that, what is it like being born and raised in the city? Like from your childhood to your teens to your young adulthood? Because I've only been here for 2 going on 3 years, and it's not easy. But what was that like, just growing up in the city as well?
Toxic. I hated school in high school. People were just doing things that like I wasn't even aware of. I was like a very innocent person that turned very sinful quick. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it was what everyone was doing, not just a group, not just like everybody was just fast paced.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, I feel like the way that you carry yourself now, it's just so divine. And I love that you kind of move at your own pace, whether it's your fashion, whether it's the way you walk, the conversations you have, the boundaries you set. Now, with that toxicity and peer pressure, how did you get out of that? Because sometimes I get caught up in what's cool and trying to fit in. But how did you break out from that mold of like trying to keep up with everybody? Because it is a sinful city.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit. Like literally, like I've always had God, and like that's who I always cry to. Always like tell like everything to. Like I'm just a tattletale to God.
Yeah,
like
I love that. Yeah, you're like God. This person,
and I'm very like
person.
I'm a possessive person. So like I'm not possessive in a bad way, but I'm like God's mine. Like He's gonna answer my prayer right now. Like I'm very demanding because I'm like I get hurt so like quick and hard.
Yeah,
because I'm like no. Man. Not to me.
Yeah. Now, for people that maybe don't have faith or never had a relationship with God, where did that come from? Because I definitely look up to you in that way. Faith is very important to me, but where did you get your influence of faith and God?
Definitely my mom.
Mm.
Yeah. Like I don't know, I was baptized at 8 and like I just from there, like it was just always so glorious to like praise his name. Like
that's awesome.
Yeah. And like and it was more so on like just routine. Like my mom always had us Bible study, like, you know, church, all the above. So it was just like, I actually liked it.
Yeah. And you definitely checked my faith because I grew up in the Christian household. Being Korean American, it's like you had to worship God. You had to have a relationship with God. But I remember just, again, the way you carry yourself, just so much conviction. And I'm like, yo, I think I need to pray more, or maybe I don't know God the way that I do. So tell me a little bit too about, you know, that relationship with God. How do you continue to invest in it and protect it? Because again, being from Vegas, it's easy to be like, well, on Sunday I could go to church, but also Saturday night I could be partying till 5 a.m. and maybe not go to church on Sunday. So tell me a little bit more about, you know, your relationship with God, and again, how you protect that.
Honestly, I just put him first. He's my core, like my root. Like I feel like when I don't have him, like, or like it's consistent, like for me, just because I'm like a prayer all day, like I don't know, it does conflict my whole like spirit being, like I feel thrown off in my day. So like it does help being a mother too, because like I want them to like have the strength that I have. Man. You know what I mean?
Girl, and like on top of life and on top of, again, the things that you've endured, I'm not a mom, so like I can only imagine, but tell me a little bit too, like what it's like to raise kids in this city.
Yeah, it's also really crazy. I mean, like my son's 10, so he's already gone through like a little bit of bullying and things of that nature. But like, I feel like because I always lay hands on him and like always pray over him, that like nobody touches him.
That's
like,
beautiful.
like it happened for a moment, but then like I'll show up and like go to school and like it'll be done.
Wow. And I'm sure, you know, maybe your son does or doesn't tell you, you know, verbally, but I'm sure he really honors you as a mom to be able to have prayer. I mean, shoot, if I had parents, I mean, they did pray for me, but to intentionally start the day with prayer, lay hands, and, you know, glorifying God in even the way you parent. Does he ever, you know, tell you, hey mom, like you make me think about God, or hey mom, you know, I love the way you pray for me? Like, how does it affect the way you parent too, and just like how your son is developing?
Both of my kids are very like, we don't go in depth conversation about God. They just see their mom and like how I carry myself daily, and so they follow. Like you know what I mean. Like they, like no, I'm a repetitive mom. Like in general, I'm just like, make sure you say your prayers like at night every time. Just, but they know and they do. So it's just something that's like, I never want them to forget. Like that is your root. That is your like center of life is God. You know.
Yeah.
Whether the relationship they have with them is different or not. Yeah. Like you know, everybody has a different relationship with Christ, but I always want them to know like that's first and foremost.
That's amazing.
And then yourself, you know.
God, you know, that's definitely a lot of spiritual discipline. Now, have you had a moment where, again, we're all guilty of this, so I'm not trying to call you out, but have you ever had a season where perhaps we put God on the back burner, or perhaps our faith walk on the back burner? And if so, what was that time like?
My first year in COVID was the only time I ever felt that I really carried myself in a darker light. But I felt like I needed to like face my darker light to get to a higher light and it worked. Like it really did. Like even though I made sinful like mistakes, I knew I needed that in order to be the woman I am today. Like really.
When you came back to God and when you decided to kind of pivot back, like, what did that feel like? Because we've all, you know, backslided for a second and then you go in harder. But what was that like when you were like, okay, God, had a moment, but I'm ready. I'm all in. I see you. You saw me, but hey, forgive me. What was that like?
Funny, but yet like very like disappointed. Yeah. Like, you know, very repentful, but like he knew my purpose on my walk. You know what I mean? Like he knew what I was going for. He knew the mission that I was, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're on a mission for God.
Yeah. Amen.
And so it's like, could I have, excuse me, carried myself in a better light? 100%.
Yeah.
But it's also too like, I was in a home. I always worked a 9 to 5. So to be out and like just enjoy me, it was like, I don't know, it was like Satan pulled me back. I don't know how to be outside. Like I wasn't outside, and like literally I had a son at 23, so like almost 24. So like to be outside, it was kind of like, oops, like
I get it. Yeah, you've been responsible for a moment.
I
so
was
it's
like a decade. Okay,
yes.
like
wow.
But you know what I'm saying? So it was like I went a little like free, like probably a little too free.
Yeah.
But it got me blessings, like because I was always genuine about it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I did have a little aha moments,
it's
like
all good.
Yeah,
Nobody's
wake
perfect.
up, like that was bad.
Man. So okay, so you mentioned you had a kid at 23, if you don't
almost
mind me
24,
asking. What was that like? Because I know when I was 23, 24, I was playing with makeup, you know, watching YouTube videos, you know, and I'm like, shoot, I ain't even ready for a relationship, you know, like with myself or someone. What was that like being a young mom? I mean, it's not that young, but like, what was it like having a kid at 23, 24?
I had no fear. Like really, like the moment I saw like the light was green, like my whole mentality changed right then and there. Like it's crazy, but that's how I've always been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was always a nurturer. I was always the babysitter.
Yes.
Like growing up, like I was always playing with babies. Like I always knew in my heart, like I was going to be like the most perfect mother.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
That gives me
so
inspiration.
I wasn't fearful.
Rub that magic on me. Okay. I'm like, I can't.
I just wasn't fearful. I was just like, the only thing I was fearful was like, dang, how is my body about to look? But
no, but hey, listen, ain't nobody complaining.
I'm just like, dang.
Yeah, dang. Okay, so, you know, what was like the biggest shift from being a, you know, independent boss lady? You still are, but then transitioning into motherhood.
Honestly, I was always a boss. Like I went 6 months after I had my son, I had 2 jobs. I worked at Sephora full time and I worked at the sugar factory full time.
Oh shoot. So it didn't really stop
I didn't.
you.
No.
If
my mother was there. I think it would be different if I didn't have my mom. Like my mom was always the partner. So it's like, she didn't care how long I was gone. She knew I was on a mission to like give this child life, you know?
I love that. But I can definitely see that like outsider looking in, even as a friend and a sister, because again, every time I meet you, like your energy's on point and you're enthusiastic. You don't carry this weight on your shoulders like, oh, I got kids when I was young. So I really honor that, how you can balance your private life, your personal life, but also motherhood. And it's amazing that you have someone you can trust, like your mom, right? Yeah. So that way, when you're out making money, trying to build your empire, it's like, okay, you know, your kids are in good hands, right?
Yeah.
Now, I always like to bring it back to, again, beauty, inner beauty, you know, getting to know people on the inside first, because a lot of people probably look at you, look at your Instagram and be like, okay, she definitely fine. Now I know why her name's Monica Pine or Monica Fine. We'll take it all. But
everybody has their own perspective. Truly, I've heard it all.
Yeah. Okay? And one of my goals,
from the prettiest to the worst, you know what I mean?
But I just feel blessed that we were able to connect on a deeper level. And same with the podcast. I want to have the opportunity for people to know you a little bit deeper, right? So I know we talked about you do modeling. You're an influencer, educator in so many ways, you know, entrepreneur in so many ways, shifting gears a little bit. If God were to ask you, all right, you got one mission, which mission do you want to focus on? Because the thing about like multidimensional people like us, there's so many ways to save people. There's so many ways to leave an impact. But if God were to literally ask you, okay, what's your strategy or what's your game plan? I know that's a deep question.
For what I'm doing?
Yeah. Like your platform, you know, social media.
Honestly, like, I don't even put it in like categories or like a space amount like that. Like I just play it like overall.
Yeah.
Like I want anything my heart desires, but as his yes for me. So if it comes, it comes. If it goes, it goes.
Yeah.
Like I just know that I'm like, I can do anything.
Yes.
Like I'm really a jack of all trades.
Yes,
like nothing scares me.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would detail cars. Like that's how much I love like doing stuff like that. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
no, that's good. And you
like
know,
anything, like I don't care. I'm always going to make money. And without any judgment of anybody else. Like I don't care.
No, I love that. And you know, you kind of indirectly touched on something is oftentimes we like put ourselves in a box, right? Like, oh, I'm a makeup artist, or I only take photos, or I just model. I think people forget, especially when you have God and you are a child of God, he can use you in so many ways, right? So I like what you said there. It was kind of a trick question, because when I do ask that question, sometimes subconsciously people put themselves in a box. Like, I just do this and this is all I do. It's like there's so many vehicles to getting to the destination, or so many vehicles in spreading your purpose. Another question I like to ask you, because I'm always thinking about this every day, is people that, again, don't know God or don't have faith, or they want to know more about God and faith. How would you kind of inspire them into a walk of knowing God and having a relationship with God?
This is what I tell everyone. I'm like, if love is the center of all your things in life, like, you will never fail.
That's
like,
good.
That's just what I believe. Like, God is love. Like, you know, if you can imagine, like, and look up what love means, you know, in the Bible, like, that's how I believe. So I don't care what you believe in.
Yes.
As long as that is your core and your center.
Yeah.
Like, we'll all prosper.
Yeah.
Like, you got to live to serve.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and you got to serve in love.
Yeah.
You know?
And what amazes me about you too is you have a silent fire, but a loud fire all at the same time, right? Now, for people that maybe you interact with that don't walk in love, how do you deal with that? Because again, living in the city, you know, see all types of people, but I have a hard time sometimes when like people don't treat me the way that I treat them, or if I forgive quickly, I expect them to forgive quickly. So, you know, people who don't walk in love or have love inside, how do you coexist with them?
One, I always give them to my Savior. Two, I'll either address the situation. If I see that there's no like care to it, then I'll move on. And I understand like the respect level that I'm going to give to each other. Just because like no one's ever going to be in my space.
Yeah.
You're either going to have the same entity or energy as me, or like send me a text. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm just not going to deal with nothing less than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man. Now, how do you set emotional boundaries? Because I know through therapy, she coaches me about emotional intelligence and how some people, they just simply don't comprehend who we are and what we're saying. I'm sure we've all ran into that, but how do you set emotional boundaries too? Because sometimes you're like, are you really that dumb, or do you really not get it?
Yeah.
How do you cope with that, or how do you deal with that?
You know what? I feel like very sensitive to that word emotion, because a lot of people get triggered with emotion and they think that you just have to be like, emotions get you killed or love gets you killed. Like, I understand that logic, but it's also too like, why can't it be different? Like, why is it that, I do think that your emotions should be strong and like wise, and like, because we react too quickly off emotion. I think I started off in COVID and I started giving myself 48 hours to address something back.
Wow.
Like, and I really was aware of that. I was like, I realized that as soon as someone triggers me, I respond. You know what I mean? So like, I gave myself like, I was like, let me not, and then I went down to 24 hours. Now I can make a decision within that second.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But it's all repetition. It's all like something that's going to benefit you and help you to progress, you know? And I don't think that a lot of people take time to like realize that they can fix any problem. Like, you have that multitude of, you know what I mean? To get there and like heal it.
No, and that's super good too, because I know like my husband will tell me, he's like, you don't need to react all the time, or you don't need to respond all the time. And I was like, I got 5 seconds and then I'm going to text somebody back or say something. But no, I think time definitely gives you the ability to think and process, because sometimes I move too quick and say something that I can't take back. But, you know, kind of moving the conversation to another point, like forgiveness, whether it's you forgiving someone or someone forgiving you, like how do you move around forgiveness? Because I'm sure maybe I've rubbed you the wrong way, not on purpose, you know, or, you know, either way, like how do you navigate around forgiveness? I know that's
I've
like
always
a
been like
topic.
an instant forgiver.
Oh,
like,
I love that.
Yeah, always. Even as a child, just because like I said, I was always a sensitive like being, like, and I was just like, why do I want that emotion weight on me? Like, I'd always like pray and give it away.
That's
like,
so
I've
good.
always been like that though. It's weird.
See, you're a special case here, right? Because like me listening, people listening and watching
because I
right
believe
now,
that
they're
it's
like,
so
what?
much, and I just believe that I hold that power as a woman of God, that it's like, he's going to take care of it for me. Whatever situation that concurred, he's going to turn it into something great.
Yeah.
And I've just always trusted in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I'm telling you, I've been a godly child since truly like I was dipped underwater.
Yeah.
Like
no, that's
full
beautiful.
smile, like ready to serve. You know what I mean? Like with my Bible in my hand, like ready.
Yeah. No, you definitely challenge me spiritually because again, when I first met you, just your bluntness, your boldness, your conviction and how you speak, how you walk, how you carry yourself. I'm like, dang, like I knew I was kind of cool, but you're like next level cool. Okay. No. Because I feel like God makes no accidents when he aligns certain types of people in your life where you just see each other. And I feel like, again, I'm not saying I'm perfect or you're perfect, but when we met, it was this instant, like, I see you, you see me. Yeah. It was like, damn, you really looking at me, you know, not looking past me, but like, Jane, no matter what you are, I see you.
Yeah.
Like, calm down, chill. Like, I see you. And I'm like, oh man, I don't let a lot of people see me. Right. So, you know, I definitely honor that. Do you have a lot of people in your life that see you?
I think more so now. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
How do you continue to build those friendships and how has those relationships affect your new friendships?
Okay, say that again.
So for example, like when I'm sitting in a room with you, like you see me, right? And I'm thinking, okay, if this is what it's supposed to be, a lot of the things that I thought were friends or they see me, they're not really seeing me in the level that you do because I have this comfort around you. I have this ability to let my walls down. Right.
Exactly.
So to kind of clarify the question, like, how does it affect you to have people in your life that do see you? Because I can already tell there's a lot of people right now that don't really have real friends or they're not around people that really see them. You know what I mean? That actually have your back. So how does that empower you? Like, how does that affect you in how you make friendships and navigate making new friends if you try to?
Yeah. I mean, I always try to, friends, I don't like the words friends. It's always been cliche to me because, but I want to have like a community, like a, you know what I mean? So for me, I'm just a talker. Like I like talking in eyes. So like, I feel like that's what a lot of people can't do that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm a businesswoman. So I'm going to like stare at you until you're like blue in the face.
No wonder. Yeah.
Because I want to know who you are first.
Yes.
And then I'm a little mean. I'll let people, I'll look at them and I'll know exactly who they are. And like, I'll let them dig themselves a hole. But it's not because like, I just know that you're never going to receive something that I can give you until you're ready. And when you're ready, you can present yourself to me. And a lot of people do that. They're like, oh, she's not me, but I do hold my ground. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I want to be your friend, but like, you're not my friend as of this moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes you don't have time to stop and do that. And sometimes I watch myself too. Like if I know I'm in this position, someone else is, you know, going through something I already went through, I'll be a light, but I also too, like, you got to make the choice. You know, I hold people accountable. I really do.
Yeah, you do.
You know, because I want to see what you're going to make.
Yeah.
That lets me know if I can further walk with you or like pause for a moment and let you catch up and we can continue, you know, on that good, close friendship vibe. And if not, like, I know I gave you something, you gave me something in return. Yeah. You know,
man, I just love how all this information you're sharing, it's like common sense, right? Like for you, no, like I applaud that. You're just like, girl, like faith has always been a thing. Your depth with God has always been a thing. Just like your nurturing soul has just always been a thing. You're like, I already know I'm going to be a good mom. And same with just your association, the community. You're like, no, if it's not for me or they're not ready, then like you said, I'll let you know, or you let me know when you're ready to receive this.
Exactly.
You let me know when you're ready to be you so I can connect on that level. Right. So that's why I'm just kind of like mind blown right now.
Because I've done the same. So like, I just do the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you love me, you're going to do the same for me.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I love people who do that for me, but in a respectful light, in a God's light, you know what I mean? And like, not something of like, jealousy or hate or like you want to see me fall. Like I don't believe in that shit. At all. If I smell it, like you're gone.
See, so even that comment right there, I'm like, man, I'm shifting into that space, right? And I'm learning that it's okay to stand up for like your worth. And when you do it in reality, it might come off mean, like you said, or people misinterpreting like, oh, you're a biatch. It's like, no, that's not the case. what it really is I know who I am. Yeah. I know my worth. I know the type of people I want to continue this life with, and I know the type of people I don't. So for people who may be, again, listening and watching that don't have this mentality, because like I'm there, but not to the level that you are. But again, I'm moving and working towards that. But for people who are just like, Monica, I don't get it. Like, what do you mean? Like,
Nobody
what
gets
do you
me,
mean?
though.
Just like, you know,
Nobody
but
gets me.
Listen, that's why you're
Okay.
here. You special. But let's say, you know, because you like to educate and inspire, because you do that for me. But let's just say you're in a room right now with a bunch of people just like looking at you like, I want that. I don't know how to get there. How can you kind of coach them, or like, what would you share? Because again, it's common sense to you, but to the average, it's like, what do you mean boss up? What do you mean level up? What do you mean stand up for your worth? Like, how do you coach them, or what would you share with them?
I mean, I don't know. We all have like a story. We all have a life story. I'm more sensitive to people's stories. And I think that's why I have so many, like, just a huge community. I really do believe like in my community, but it's like, you got to get through it. Like truly at the end of the day, all you have is yourself.
Yeah.
Like it really is, like married or not, kids or not, like you're going, you know, unless it's God asks you both to come at the same time, or in it's a unity, like you're by yourself. What do you want to do here on this earth that's going to implement yourself, how you look to others? You know what I mean? Like, cause we all, like at the end of the day, you are judged. Yes. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, what do you want for yourself? What do you want that to look like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just by yourself.
Yeah.
Not as a family, not as a unity. Like what does that look like to you? And then that's when you can move into your family and to, you know, like I think everything through, like you got to know that every action is going to become that.
Man.
You know what I mean? No matter what it is, like your truth is your truth.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, and I know last time we, you know, hung out here actually by the pool, I remember, and I passed out because I was in the sun for too long. You're like, girl, are you okay? I'm like, yes, just give me a second.
You weren't.
The Holy Spirit got me, okay? But I remember us just having a chat about that, how you're like, Jane, I don't get out of the house. Remember?
Yeah.
You were like, she is in the house right now. But, you know, you touched on something deep too, just like that moment of solitude and being alone and being okay, like facing yourself. Right. And when you mentioned, Jane, we're all going to be judged, like no matter how we walk, how we talk, how we look, you know, wherever we might be in this life, we're going to always be judged. So what was that moment like when you were forced to be alone? And again, you have a crazy dope God wisdom that most people don't have. But again, I know a lot of people, they're probably listening in right now, just like, but Monica, Jane, like, I don't know how to sit alone. I don't know how to be alone. Like, I don't know how to function without people. How did you get the wisdom to be able to also even just accept like, hey, Jane, at some point you got to be good with you. Like you got to do you. Like, again, it might be common sense to you, but like, what is that like? Because I'm not there yet. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I get lonely, I get sad, I get depressed, and I'm like, shit, if all my friends die, I might as well die with them, you know? Because I don't want to be the last one standing. No. Yeah, so that's why
I want to be the last one standing.
Because sometimes I feel that. I'm like, God, what if I'm like the last one on the earth? Or like, what if I'm one of the few people on this earth?
It's okay. See, I want to be that. I want to be the last one standing.
So for people who have moments of fear and doubt,
but I think you have to get to that place spiritually. I'm there spiritually because I chose to want it that bad.
Okay.
Like that was the one thing I wanted in life, was to be so spiritually inclined to my Heavenly Father that no one could touch me, because I already know the life that I'm going to have.
Man, okay.
You know? Yeah. And I'm not going to stop until God says, I don't want you here no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, it did take a minute. I'm the same way. I've always been in a relationship. This is my 6th year being single, like hardcore.
Proud of you.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And like you learn yourself in solitude. You learn yourself in how you want to even treat yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know, I did a lot of meditation, a lot of prayer. Like,
that's good.
You know, I started boxing. Like, you have to keep active, and health is wealth. Like, Absolutely. It really is. Like, when you have too much dopamine in your brain, like you can go a little loca, like real. And like, if you're already hyperanalytic and like you don't know how to sit still very long, like you need to use that in some type of light. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like in goodness, like keep yourself going, you know? And like, join something different. Like for me, I was like, no, I cannot go into depression. Like what have I always wanted to do that I need to do right now? And I chose boxing. And I've been doing it now for 3 years.
Oh yeah, no, I see you. That's why you got no wrinkles on your face. I was like, good to see you. Okay?
No, I love you. Stop.
Wow. Okay, so that's powerful. Now, man, so, I know you mentioned 6 years of just like doing you. Very personal question. I know part of it is probably a choice, but what has that life been choosing to be single, and what is it like dating in the state of mind that you're in? Like, because you're so in tune with who you are. I mean, like, even as a girlfriend, you check me too. Like, hey, don't forget who I am. I said, no, I respect that. But what is it like dating as a very independent, confident, God-fearing woman that's very convicted in her worth and her calling? Because I can't even imagine like what it would be like trying to be this dude that's like, oh, I'm trying to date you. What is that like? I'm sure it's funny. I'm sure you're literally laughing inside. Like, good try. Thank you for the dinner.
No, I try not to be mean because like, obviously, like I chose to go on a date or like see who my person is.
Yeah.
But it is funny. Not gonna lie. It also is like, dang. And then I had to like put in my mind right then, like, are you someone that I'm willing to be patient for? Is it someone that I'm willing to wait a little bit longer?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Or I'll just be like, immediately, like, you're just a homie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
But it's still love.
Yeah.
Because like, I always go on amazing dates.
I'm sure
like,
you got a lot of homies then. You're like, thank you for this moment. Hey, it's all good. Yeah.
But they know, they see it, and my eyes don't lie. And they're just like, I'd rather have her though. I'd rather have her around than not around.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I have a lot of homies.
Oh my God. It's all good. Okay. We family here. Now,
I'm
speaking of the homies,
truth.
it's all good. So speaking of the homies though, what is it like having that? And what I mean by that is there's so many lost people. I mean, I was lost too, where we don't step up and stand our worth, and we don't set those boundaries where it's like, hey, I'm not going to wait for you. I'm not going to be patient. I'm not going to, shift some things for you. Like, how do you continue to stay in your lane? Because, we all get moments where we're lonely, and it's like winter or whatever it is, summer. It's like, it's nice to have a man or someone next to you. How do you continue to go on dates, or how do you continue to show up where it's like, you know what, you just a homie. I'm not going to settle down. Because I look up to you for 6 years. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, how do you keep that going? Because I'm sure it's not easy.
Well, one, I don't date. I really don't like that. It takes a different kind of species like me
to even have a try. Yeah.
Right. I'm very choosy lover. But when it does happen, it's more so like a respect level for each other. Because like I enjoy a men's mentality so much more, because it allows you to grow. Like you can see, like for me, I'm just like, a lot of men are like hurt. They're broken. And it's like women who are doing it, right? And we all have our faults and like things that we do to each other. But it also is like, wow, God sent me to you. Like it's like an immediate epiphany. Like God sent me to you because I get to heal that part that somebody else might have damaged.
Oh, that's good.
You know what I mean? And that's how I move. I'm like, because I don't want my homies or like someone that is like, dang it. I said yes to this date. Like I want him to leave full, like, and I'll be like, I'm going to find you your perfect girl. Like if I run into her, I'm going to hit you. You know what I mean? That's the love that I am to my homies.
No, that's good. And like, I know my husband probably doesn't want to hear this, but like our energy, right? Alpha female, we have big energy. You and I can both agree, like sometimes I'd rather sit in a room full of dudes, no offense, than like little girls or dramatic girls that are so insecure. Just
I'm the
talking
same way
about people. Like, I'm sorry. I'd rather sit with, masculine energy, whatever you want to call it, testosterone, whatever. So I feel like, when you joked about the whole homie situations, call me cuckoo, but like, I kind of move the way you move. It's like, hey, I'm happily married. I appreciate the gesture, but it's like, hey, now I know you. Let me see who is worthy of you. Or now that I know the way you move, let me see if I find somebody that would be a perfect candidate for you. Right. But it's funny because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the way that we are, I think dudes are attracted to us, but not always sexually, right? Like, especially in the city of Vegas.
I feel like I'm more attracted by energy.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Especially in the city of Vegas. Like, I mean, I get it. You know, we're saturated with toxicity and sin, but like, people need to know, especially women who are godly and rooted in God, we don't always move sexually, but maybe sensual. Like we have feminine energy, but it's sensual. Like we're so in tune with who we are that there's like a flow, like you said, an energy and a vibe, right?
And people get it misconstrued.
Yes. And so, you know, my husband's
I pray now everywhere I walk.
Right?
I'm like,
literally.
Please. I'm like, don't get it fucked up. Because
you're like, I know I'm cute, but.
Well, I'm like, I don't have time to explain. And if I was to explain, you might be hurt. And like, then you'd be like, she's, you know what I mean? Like, humble yourself.
Yes.
I humbled myself before I came to you. Humble yourself before you come to me.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. And I don't want to, you know, say any names, but sometimes, you know, we'll be approached by certain individuals. They know that I'm married, or maybe they know you're just not available in that way. But back to your, you know, comment about like energy, spirit, vibes. We can't stop our flow though, right? Yeah. Like, what, we're just gonna hide our light, or we're just going to stop shining for God? Like, obviously there's something in us that we were born with, right? And I think that's why truly, when we have the opportunity to be out or party or go to a pool party, whatever, I get excited because it's like you can already feel the energy or the shift in the room. Like all of a sudden, you know, people are coming at us, and it's like, oh no, it's not just for our looks. There's something inside of us, right? So moving on,
it's like the shiny toy everyone wants to see. They got to see if it's real or if it's
how do you navigate through that? Because like, you know, I've been out to a few pool parties that I'm like, even I can't not look sometimes, and I'm like, okay, you look really good, girl. How do you navigate in life too, where you walk into a room, again, humbly, you walk into a room, people, you know, their eyes are shifting or their gesture shifts. What is it like? Because I know sometimes other females might feel some type of way, like, why is she getting attention, or why are the men going after her? Like, what is that like? Like, how do you walk in your greatness knowing that people are looking at you? Like, why her? Because it's not a flesh thing, it's a spiritual thing.
Well, when I go anywhere, like, you know me, like, I demand the room just naturally.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yep. Because I'm just like, if you think that, you know, you can come and approach me, or you have enough BALLS to say something of me, come and meet me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you're willing to, or let's just say someone introduced me, I'm very respectful, like very hello, like businesswoman first, but like get to know me then if you're so curious. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay with that, but just know, like, you're gonna get that that woman that you saw walk in response. Man. You know?
So, okay, because I know you a little bit deeper than the average here, what do you do when people think they know you, but they don't really know you, and maybe they talk about you like they know you, but how do you also navigate through life knowing that there's people to this day that act like they know you, but they don't really know you? Because you're very unbothered, okay? Really but I'm just saying, because things still bother me, but how do you, I don't know, just like walk the walk and do what you do, knowing that people might be talking ish or just painting you a certain
know
way.
That they are.
Yeah, help me, Jesus, because I need help in that. I'm too sensitive right now.
I rebuke Satan like probably like every 5 seconds.
Okay, I should start doing that.
Yeah, I say it out loud. I say it out loud because like I just don't want it. Like if I mentally think something ill of that person, I'm just like, I just believe that your intuitiveness, and if you have that gut feeling, like I don't go around that anymore. Like where I'm nice and I'm just like, think of people like they're going through it or things like that. Like, no, like what you gave me was real. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I leave people where they got me.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I said, I've physically with my own eyes.
If I curse, my bad.
It's all good. But
I'm a godly woman though.
I've physically seen you like with my own eyes. Again, in situations where you're like, yep, your vibe, your energy, you think you know me, you definitely know. And like, even with your eyes, you check them and they feel that you check them.
My eyes don't lie.
Oh, it's
I'm
incredible.
Very cutthroat.
Yeah, I can't wait to get there. Now, you know, I know we talked about solitude. I know we talked about, you know, your singleness, but again, if you don't mind me asking, what about even kind of that discipline in girlfriends? I know we talked about like even labels like Jane, I don't really like friends, but like community. That's a deeper level, right, of intimacy. Sometimes even the label of friends can sound very temporary, very surfacey, very vain. But tell me a little bit about just like navigating through girlfriends, because I don't want to assume too much, but I know that you and I, we don't necessarily have a million girlfriends, right? Yeah. Before we pressed record, you're just like, do you have girls you just like go and kick it with? And I'm like, not really. I mean, I know a lot of girls. I know a lot of girls that want to hang out with me, but no, I don't consistently kick it with anyone specifically. Yeah. So, you know, I'll go first and I want you to answer as well. I know for me, I kind of touched on it earlier about the homies and the testosterone masculine energy. I just don't want to be in a room of people who are talking about people, talking about gossip, talking about drama. I want to talk about business ideas, growth mindset, and, you know, how to invest in your money. And it's not even a sexist comment, but I just moved to areas where I know that it's real, it's raw, it's rooted in some sort of spiritual realm, where I know I'm going to leave feeling more confident, bolder in my faith, and, you know, being a dreamer, activating like the visions that I have in my soul. And I think, unfortunately, I just don't have a lot of girlfriends. So like, what about for you? Like,
I don't like really, I really don't. Like, I have a sisterhood, and that's how I always, like, any girl that I do business with, like, we grew as a family. So it's like, I say sisterhood. Like, I don't like girlfriends. All the girlfriends I ever spent time with and like genuinely like loved, that's all, you know what I mean? Yeah. Did me a sour, you know what I mean? So it's like, I no longer believe that. Like, if God has given me these strong women that feel like sisters, you know what I mean? That's way more than enough. Like, that's the good blessing. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because those are the ones that check in on me. Those are the ones that correct me. Those are the ones that make me really feel like, damn, that she gives me that feeling of if I was to have a sister. Yeah. You know what I mean? I love so that. It's like, those are the ones that I take with me. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Because again, I have very good memory. I remember I said something or I texted something and you were like, girl, don't try to treat me like some friend / I forgot the way you put it, but it was really funny.
A business. I was like, don't treat me like
I'm your sister in Christ. I'm like, yes, I'm sorry. But
yeah, it sounded like a recording. And I was like, you got the wrong one.
But you know, like we talked about before we pressed record, I was kind of venting to you like, yo, I'm in a different space. I'm in a different mindset. My spiritual path right now is just on another level of depth. But sometimes we get trapped in this toxic cycle because we might have moments in life where we're around toxic people that are also acting like your friends or saying the right things to make you feel like they're your friends, but they're really not, right? So when you were talking about how, you know, you had a bunch of girlfriends, but they did you sour, it's like, okay, we got like the flesh, temporary, surfacey, you know, acquaintance friends, and then sisterhood. That's like deep. That's like spiritual, like ride or die. I see you at your highest and your lowest. I'm going to call you out on your crap. You're going to call me on my crap. But there's like a level of respect and longevity. Like there's a commitment. There's a partnership, right? So what is it like to, you know, have that community, have that support? Is it easy for you to bring new people in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because like, you know, your people, like they're your family.
Yeah. And now I know like too, like what's good for me. So like when I see someone that reminds me of my sisterhood, I'm like, God gives me it. And I know in an instant, like that's a forever thing. Even in like males, like, you know what I mean? Like I can easily now know, you know what I mean? Looking like what you're trying to get from me. Yeah. And I'm strong enough to be like, hold up. Like whether it's a woman or female, like, I mean, man, I'm like, now it's just, you comes instant.
God, that's so good. Again, like I love when you talk because you're like, well, Jane, this is common sense. And I'm like, no, I
talk to you the way I do because I'm very stubborn.
Yeah.
And like, so if God really, and I believe that, like, and I help my sisterhood, you know what I mean? And it's crazy, like majority of my sisterhood is younger than I, you know what I mean? I have 2 that are older than me that it's in my sisterhood, and like, they keep me very strong. Like they hold accountable to me, and like, but now like, it's just so much love. And then I have a sisterhood that's younger than I. So I feel like obligated to like, no lady, because it's like, I need that. Yeah. If I know I need that, I know you need it, and you're younger than me. So it's not like y'all are a little bit more feistier, right? You know, the ones that are younger than I, like, you know,
man. Now, so I know we talked about kind of like the COVID pandemic, and I know those are kind of like sensitive topics that people don't want to talk about, but I know like in the first episode, I was trying to put like a smiley face on, and then my husband was like, Jane, I need you to be real. Like, don't put on this face and be like, hey guys, welcome to my podcast. And he left the room and made me record in solitude by myself, right? So you touched on so many things that like blessed me tonight. But I remember being forced. I mean, yeah, it was like an hour. I just started crying because it was just like me and myself, the camera and the mic, and I just lost it, right? And then I didn't realize how sad I was, how empty I was, how depressed I was, how fearful I was. And, you know, even now I'm still recovering, but I don't forget what I've gone through. So like, have you had a moment of deep, dark depression? Because I know right now we're talking about community. I know right now we're talking about love. I know right now we're talking about the homies, the sisterhood, and just like that conviction. But again, we all slip, we all have funks, but like, have you had that moment of just like deep, dark depression where you just couldn't see any light?
Oh yeah, bad. Like the year before COVID happened, I was my first apartment with my daughter, first like, damn, I'm doing this like solo dolo. And I was trying to still like have fun and be pretty and like fight depression of like not having like a family, like, and then also trying to date because I'm like, oh, I miss having a person. But then I was just like, again, like depressed from like the trauma that I received from the person I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. So I was like trying to balance everything. And then like, it was like, God was like, you're dealing with it like right now. Cause like, he knows who I am. He knows how strong I am. So for him to see that, like I fell into that category of like, I don't want to say same, but it was like, it was to a point where I was like allowing him to feed me. You know what I mean? Like second guessing myself, like running through my brain, like doubting myself, like getting to a place where like I didn't feel good about myself. Like I didn't feel pretty. Like that's not me. I didn't care like what I look like, you know, teeth, skin, bad. Like I always showed up like confident, you know, even sweatpants, my hair a mess. Like I've always held myself with the high self of love, you know, and it's not esteem or like, you know, cockiness or like conceited. It's just like, I just love me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what I look like. I love me. And I knew I was always going to get better. But like, yeah, it was bad. It was to a point where it's just like, yeah, no, I got to face this. Like, she's got to go. Like this Monica that's right here, like she needs to die. Like, and I really killed her off. Like, I say that out loud. Like, I like rebirthed myself in Christ because I was like, and I even, you know, baptized myself again as an adult because I was just like, I don't ever want to see that Monica in life. You know, again.
No, that's deep right there. Cause again, you harped on kind of like that solitude, being alone, and then even facing your demons, right? Because even the holiest, most positive, full of light and love, you know, we have moments where we fall. Who knows how we got there? But the point is you took initiative to be like, all right, whatever this is not going to continue. So I love that you took a moment, even though it probably was very uncomfortable, to face it, right? Like dead in the eye, like this Monica or this version of me, we're done. Like this ends here.
And it hurt even more too, because like when you know that that's like you talk to yourself like that, and then people that you love that you like might have just met, they're like judging you and you're just like, I don't want her. And I'm just like trying to like convince him like, wait, hold up, this is not like who I am, like this is circumstances, life. But like you don't even have that time to like tell someone because you're just so like second guessing, like even reaching out, right? You know what I mean? But you know that person's looking at you like, oh, I don't want nothing to do with her. But I'm just like, whoa, like this is not her. Like I'm sorry, like
now, you know, with the topic of depression, because again, that's also another sensitive topic. I know a lot of people more than ever, they're dealing with depression, anxiety. Again, after COVID and the pandemic, it's like flared up even more. So if people were not processing their emotions, processing the pain, it just made it like come out, right? Because we all hide stuff under the rug. Because I know even for me, maybe you believe this, maybe you might see this in me, but I didn't realize I had anger, I had rage inside me. I didn't know, because it's like, I'm always so happy, I'm always so bubbly, I love people, and I'm an extrovert.
No, you're a black cat. You're like the, you know, like when you see a black cat arch and like, you're like the electricity one.
Yes, thank you. And so even my husband was like, yo, you got to relax, you know? Like, I always joke and share the story, like, he's such a kind human, you know, he'll start my morning with some coffee. Like most people who love coffee, ain't that a blessing? Like, shouldn't that be a good day? But some days, I kid you not, he'll come in the room, open up the blinds, ask me if I want coffee, and I'll just straight up bitch at him. Excuse my language, just yell at him. And I'm like, get the F out of my face. I hate this day. I don't want to get up. And he's just like, all right, I'm going to leave. Let's do this again. And then, you know, it forces me to be alone. It forces me to face it. Because what did he do? Right. So
Facts.
I've learned the hard way. When we don't face ourselves, we have a funny way of projecting. We have a funny way of blaming people that we love. We have a funny way of trying to hide it underneath whatever we can, instead of sitting in it and be like, okay, something's off.
Yeah.
Like something in me is off. So again, have you had a moment too where you've had unprocessed emotions, whether it might be anger, rage, or sadness, whatever? And like, how did you allow yourself to take those things out of the rug and process them? Because we all hide stuff, right? It's like, oh, we'll deal with it later.
Well, COVID, like I went on like a heavy, like I started meditating, and then I ended up doing like hot yoga.
Oh, good.
And like finding my center again, because I knew like my heart chakra, like I just knew my chest like hurt.
Yeah, I've been feeling that a lot these days.
Because
I'm like, I'm having a heart attack.
And I knew my center wasn't aligned either. Like your body will tell you, like, and God will tell you, because obviously he created you. So it's like, you know, when you're not your true, like authentic self. And so like, it got to a point heavily where I was like doing it, like manifesting like fully naked, like it just in the body God gave me.
Yeah.
Like no materials, nothing, like sitting on my wood floor, like just like really giving it to him. Like every possible thing that I've carried on me, might not have spoken to him about, but I know that he can hear like my thoughts, and really just like reflected light on that. Like, help me. Like I need some type of love right in this very moment. Like I'd ask him, you know, and I'm not a person who asks for things. I'm not, like, I'm usually giving him, you know what I mean? Someone to him, or, you know, I don't know. My prayer is just so different in life. So it's like, I really needed him in that time. I was just like, I need your hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I need someone in this, and I don't ask for help. Like I was like, I need you to walk me like a child, like right now. Like, you know,
man. And just like, even as you speak, I'm sure people are kind of blown away right now. Cause again, I see you, I know like God's hand on your life, but people who are probably watching you or judging you from Instagram, social media, as they do on me, it's like, damn, bad. I didn't know how spiritual she was, right? I didn't know how favored she is by God, right? But I'm excited to just even be here with you, because people don't realize the importance and significance of our faith, right? And, you know, I often get misunderstood too. And even my husband's just like, no, Jane, I think people that haven't experienced God yet, or don't really know God the way you do, it might just come off just like confusing, phony, fake, or just like a show. And it's like, this is not a show. I wouldn't be here breathing without God, right? Like I wouldn't even be married without my faith. So, you know, if you were to kind of inspire the kids or the people listening and watching, like, why should they have a faith walk, or why should they explore, you know, spirituality? Like, what would you kind of educate them? Because again, for us, it's like, I can't even imagine life without God and faith. But for someone who's on the other extreme, that doesn't meditate, that doesn't do self-love, or doesn't do any kind of thing of spirituality, what would you kind of like educate or inspire them into? Like how to get started even?
You know, it's crazy. I was with a friend last night at homie, and I was honest with him, and he was honest with me. He's just like, I never pray.
That's
He's
what
like,
I'm saying.
And I said, okay, how about you just start off with saying, thank you, God.
Wow.
Like, you know, and whenever you feel it, like whether you're driving, whether you wake up in the morning and choose to say it, I was like, try that. Just thank you, God.
Yeah.
Or just telling the universe, thank you. Like, thank you for today.
Oh, that's
so
good.
I teach my daughter, like every morning, like we look at the sun, and I just believe that's the source. That's what wakes us up in the morning. That's what gives us light.
Yeah,
and
literally.
I always tell her, like, thank you, God. Let us have a great day, God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We love you, God.
Yeah.
Like, and we move on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we don't even go in full prayer together because I know that she's ready to like rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, and I know she
so
doesn't have patience to like endure our prayer right now.
Wow.
You know
but you're
I mean?
planting the seed.
Yeah.
Right? Like
exactly.
you're already kind of showing her like there is a higher power outside of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Like for us to think that we as humans alone have the say or the control is kind of funny, right? It's like,
because
okay,
you don't create the earth. So I'm like, whether you believe in God or not, like someone is giving you this sun.
Yeah.
You think of that way? Like, you know, whether you think someone's pulling a string and the sun is going up, like be grateful that you get to wake up to light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you could live in pure darkness and would you be okay?
Yeah. Man.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like, and I just think big all the time.
Yeah.
You know
God, no,
I mean?
like I said, just you challenge me and just creating space with you right now. I'm like, you make me question things deeper, like for good, instead of just kind of going through life. It's like, God, like, wow, like you really do this, or reading into things a little bit deeper, not just like, oh God, doors are opening, or God, you know, all these dope people are coming into my life, but like reading into it, like, God, you created these doors,
right?
You created these spirits, souls to be in my life, right? Which is just phenomenal. But, you know, if you could also share with me, because it sounds like you do a lot, you know, again, as a mother, as you model, like your content these days is absolutely dope. Like, what do you do to also slow down and practice self-care? Because I'm not where you are at spiritually yet, but I'm always drained and tired because I'm always pushing light and sharing light and helping other people.
You're exhausting
yourself.
yourself.
Not to say it's bad, but sometimes I feel very fatigued. So like, how do you reset and how do you recover? And then how do you give yourself like self-love?
I'm very selfish in my time.
I love that.
Very. I keep myself on routine. I'm very disciplined in health because I do believe food is a very much so like good for your soul. Like who doesn't love to eat?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like my enjoyment is reading. Like you can expand yourself so much, and people who have like, I know I'm a very like, I can't sit too long because I'm so used to moving. That reading like calm that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's enjoyable to me. You know what I mean? Like I want to learn. You know what I mean? So if I can't find that in someone at this moment, I know that I can self-educate myself by reading. And
that's good.
You know, putting my thoughts into something like receipt. You know what I mean? A book can give you so much more in life. You know what I mean? And it can dust out, you know, that self-doubt or you know what I mean?
Man, and I'm guilty of this. Like sometimes I get trapped on my phone or social media, and then all of a sudden I'm playing Tetris for 5 hours, and it's like, I have a journal, I have a book I've been wanting to read, like literally it's on my table, it's visible. But sometimes maybe it's the comfort zone, right? Like this is what I usually do, so doing that is a little much. But do you ever get stuck or trapped in wasting time once in a while? Because like obviously you're a very mindful person, as I am, but sometimes I'm literally on my phone and it's been hours, and it's like, why am I scrolling through social media? Why am I digesting things that are triggering me? Why am I getting caught up in comparison and looking at this person's and this person's that doesn't even serve me? Like, have you ever been stuck in that? And like, if you have, like, how do you get out of it?
The only thing that I can honestly and like truly say that I was stuck in was going out in the evening. When I know I should have been home. You know what I mean? Like intuitively, like I want to go out because I wanted to like dance.
Yeah,
or
we all
like,
have our little vices.
But then I want to go out there and like I start dancing, and then it turned into dancing and you're drunk. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like
it started innocent.
And you know what I mean? It was not intentional at all.
Get it.
But like you also get misled on purpose because like people want to mislead you. They want to shed that light to you so they have something to say. Like,
oh, that's good.
You know what I mean? Like they want to have a pocket for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, she fucked up too. Like,
I understand.
You know what I mean? No, I wouldn't have done that if you didn't lead me. You know what I mean? But I also made a choice to follow. You know what I'm saying? Instead of whether it's substance or not, I made a choice to drink the substance, you know? So just holding yourself accountable, knowing that, okay, I know I shouldn't be in this area, drinking in this environment with people that could mislead me, you know? So just correction.
Good. Yeah.
You know?
That's a lot of like self-awareness too, because I know a lot of people sometimes it's almost like they just like beat themselves up where they, could wake up and say, okay, I'm going to take accountability last night or yesterday. That's out of character or whatever it might be. Right. But I love how you said accountability, because so many people, they just get sucked in this like guilt or shame. And I know, one of my favorite things about like God and faith and my spiritual walk too is, not take advantage of it, but just knowing that God restores us, God heals us, God makes us new again. And I know even for me, like I wouldn't be married for 6 years if I didn't forgive myself for my past, right? If I just lived in this guilt and shame of like, oh, I dated other people before my husband, or, I probably did things that I should not have done. If I stayed there, then I wouldn't be able to understand what a healthy relationship is or a healthy marriage, right?
Yeah.
Same with like good friends. So like, I love that you make it so, I don't know, natural when you're just like, Jane, just take accountability, right? Because I'm not perfect. I have days I'm like, maybe there's someone better. Maybe I need to be better. Maybe I'm not a good enough wife, How do you kind of help people that are listening and watching? Like maybe they're stuck, whether they're stuck in their relationship, they're stuck in a toxic situation, whether it's work, relationships. How do you coach them out of it? Because it's like, I know you were, able to like get out of it. I know sometimes I do get out of it, but it takes a second. But what do you tell people who are listening right now and they're like, Monica, Jane, but I'm still stuck in it. Like I can't leave my ex, or I can't leave a toxic situation, or I'm continuing a negative pattern that could literally kill me, but I don't know. It's like too comfortable to stay here. Like, how do you coach them out of it? Because I'm sure people want to know, well, Monica, I don't know how to take accountability. I have too much guilt and shame.
I just answer all the time the same. And if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. And like, it's always the power of prayer.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I always say that. And I don't, and it's crazy because I always get that. And I don't know who people are from a lick of nothing. You know what I mean? But like, it naturally comes out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to, like, for me, that's just what it is. What are you going to do? Sit and talk to yourself blue in the face to a wall? Yeah. Like, you can't do that. You're wasting time. You know what I mean? Like, give it to God and really mean it with your heart, mind, body, and soul, like the core, like thing that he's given you here to make it, like you got to believe it. Like you can get yourself out of anything. Like you got to know that your mental is so strong. And if you're fighting for something, like, and you know that it's correct, like make it correct. Even in a toxic relationship, if you can't get out of it, then what are you going to do to make it better? Because there's only so much you can complain about. Until you realize that either you're the person that's negative and you're holding yourself there. Yeah, that's good. Or, you really need to pray for that person that's your opposite that you love so much, like out of your life. God, take him from me. Okay. You know what I mean? Remove him in this very moment, no matter how bad it's going to hurt, like, and prepare me to what's to come after that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Give me the strength to endure it, because a lot of people don't know how to endure it once it's gone. That's probably like even more so for people to go through. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to want it and know and believe it that you can change it, and want the change. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because nobody can do nothing for you unless you say yes, like this, I'm doing it. Yeah. And I live off no fear. Like I will look everybody dead in their face. Like I have zero fear. Yes. And it's because like, how could I when God is everything to me? You know what I mean? Sure. And people think I live this like perfect life. I'm like, no. Yeah. But it's like how I act during it. That's what gives me a bigger reward in the end. And when something is to come, I don't take it for granted. And I know how to love it and nourish it and take care of it and not mistreat it.
Yeah. No, and you got me choked up too when you were saying, when you pray for things to be removed and even being ready for that removal and loss, right? Because I know even for myself, I've had moments where you're like, okay, God, I pray for this job to end, or I pray for this person to get out of my life. But people forget that you also have to accept the removal, right? Because you're used to a certain way. And then one day you wake up, it's like, wait a minute, where's my man? Or wait a minute, where's my clique? Wait a minute, now I have to wake up by myself in isolation. And I know a lot of people who are extroverts like me, we feed off people, But sometimes there will be breaks and seasons where it's like, sorry, God wants us to be alone, right? In solitude. So yeah, you kind of like struck a chord there, because I know, you know, even in my transition going into this new year, I joke about this, but I've never been so bored, so like at peace at the same time. And my therapist was saying, no, Jane, I think what it is you've been so used to toxicity and toxic positivity. You're so used to being around anxious people that now that literally everything is removed from you, you almost are fighting this quietness.
Yeah.
And it's healthy, but I'm resisting almost. It's like, maybe I should text an old friend, or maybe I should try to go back to my old job, or maybe I should go back to that old relationship. I mean, not literally, but sometimes I'm just so bored and uncomfortable that it's like, Jane, maybe there's something that God has for you. Like maybe you need to create some new space. Mm-hmm. And that's why you and I like reuniting after some time. I'm not going to lie. It's like necessary, but uncomfortable, right? Because I'm not who I was. Like I'm a new person and we're creating this new space. But I feel so blessed though, because it's like, you know, you said it yourself perfectly, like with sisterhood and community, you're going to have moments and phases, you know, it's nothing personal, but it's like, hey, Monica, I'm not good for you. I'm not good for myself right now. Just give me a second. I'll be back. And, you know, just like you, I honor your private time, your private space where you're like, hey, I'm just going to disconnect for a minute. But when I'm back, let's sit down and talk. Like, I rather have these moments where it's like, hey, I took time to reflect and I'm sorry for the way that I was. But nobody knows who they were until they've transformed into a better version of themselves, right? So as we move into that topic as well, you know, how do you continue to, you know, allow yourself to evolve, and how do you continue to accept loss and the removal of things that used to be your everyday life?
That's a good one. I write a lot, and I suggest you write as well.
I think so. After this, I think I'm going to journal and read that book.
That's something that you have to come to terms with. And after you're done writing all the things that you want to feel, that you feel that you can't get out to like somebody, because us women are very personal. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we can hide things in the depths of our soul, right? With Christ too. So it's like when you're trusting in yourself and that you can visually see those things. And then also when it's time, you'll start praying and manifesting new things. You know what I mean? And you'll be confident to write them down and be like, oh, I know I'm going to be able to get to that now. Yeah. Because I've sourced out what I wanted to leave behind. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you truly can't move forward with something lingering in the past. And no matter how much you think that you're over that, and you're not, you're fooling yourself. You know what I mean? So once you can get past that in that healing stage of, okay, I'm ready to let that go, then you can focus on something more. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's so funny too, because like even as you're looking at me and I'm looking at you, I'm like, oh man, it's like you're not saying it, but your spirit is talking to me, right? Like when you were making that funny analogy about like the cat with the electricity, you know? I'm like, dude, you can just look at me and it's like you're talking to me. But I'd be laughing with you because I'm that person too. Like, I'm like the lion that gets electrocuted.
But like, you know, just bringing it full circle, geez, like we talked about so many heavy, real, raw topics, but just you highlighted so many necessary things, you know, just owning what you are, standing firm in your worth, you know, building a very, you know, quality over quantity community, sisterhood, you know, protecting your light and always putting God first, you know, starting the day and ending the day with prayer. And just, I don't know, like I want to take a moment to also just applaud you for who you've become, because every time I see you, I never ask for perfection, but like you show up. And just people listening and watching, I truly believe that just the way you show up, Monica, is actually how you coach and how you teach. I know I keep saying, well, people who don't know how to do what you do, how do you do it? I feel like just you showing up is coaching them. Like the way you show up, you're already educating people. Like even right now, you're educating me. Like, whoa, you don't even have to talk about it, but you're about it. Like I feel it. Like it radiates. So I'm over here like, okay, Jane, you got a lot of work to do, but God's got you, and I have people like you in my life to make sure, God forbid, but if I am backsliding or falling off track, like, I know you'd be like, hey girl, like, haven't heard from you for a minute. Are you good? And if you're not good, let's talk about it. Right. Same for you. It's like, you always know you can talk to me. You always know you can come over and vent privately. But with every episode too, I like to kind of end it by asking, because I know you got so many life lessons to give. What would be 3 big major lessons you would give your younger self? Because I know in sharing this, you're going to really impact a lot of people listening, including myself. What would those be?
That it's okay to ask for help. That it's okay to have a voice. And it's okay to cry the way that you cry.
Oh, that's good. Because we all be crying inside.
Yeah. Right? I think there's some more emotional women than others. Like, not even emotional, I'd say more passionate. You know what I mean? Because I cry from my heart, like, to a point where, like, I can feel it, like, bleed. Wow. You know what I mean? Like, where I know that I have to hold on to it and, like, heal it again. And without Christ, I know, like, I wouldn't be able to get through it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he heals it, like, instantly, the moment I hold my heart. Because I'm that passionate about my tears.
Yeah, I love that.
You know?
Okay. Was that the third one or the second and a half?
Third.
You're like, I'm just kidding. The second, I'm like, keep going. Okay, no, that was really real. But yeah, just like, thank you so much. In every episode, every time a guest comes in, at least for the first time, it's more of like an intro, because I know there's so many more layers in you and there's so many more stories you have to share. But for the sake of time and respect of your time, I'm just so happy we went in. Like, that was very deep, very spiritual, and selfishly, I needed this, right? Like, I started this podcast initially for me, and when I was forced to face myself, I realized I need healing. I need help. So in that realness, I'm like, wow, I got to start bringing on people that have helped me, that will help me, and that will sit with me in my healing journey. And I'm sure you and I both feel this, is it's not just like a moment to preach and talk about, oh, I'm perfect and this is what you got to do, but more so like, let's make space for one another to be real. Like, let's make space to hear each other out without judgment. Right. Exactly. So thank you also for, never judging me. And I'm sure you've seen me in all types of moods, but you never gave up on me, and I really respect that about you. And you just showing up so consistently is really rubbing off on me too, right? Like, to not water myself down. And if I am a God-fearing spiritual woman that's very confident in him, to be proud of that, like, you really inspired me in that. So, I know a lot of people watching and listening, they want to support you too. So I'll make sure in the show notes, we have your Instagram, any website links, or any way we can support you. Do let us know, because you're an incredible human.
I love you. So are you.
Okay, girl. So thank you so much. This was definitely very emotional, very real. And again, you touched me in the realest way. Thank you again. And I'll make sure to leave all her information down below. Please support her. She's incredible. If you guys want to shoot with her or just get to know her, check that information down below. Until next time, keep shining your light, protect your peace, and we'll see you in the next episode.